Okay guys, hello and welcome back to a new episode. In this one we're looking at Bngo. So of course over the past 5 days Bngo is still in the green. If we look, we are up about 3%, but obviously since about the 2nd of February we can see that we are actually down quite a bit on the share price, losing over 10% of the value in the past 2 or 3 days, and that is not what we like to see. But today, yes, we are down again by another 5%, but you know what, for about 1300, so of course 1 o'clock, things look like they are kind of flattening out a bit as we only saw the share price decrease by 0.3%. The question for tonight's episode is this one going to increase tomorrow? So of course I'm giving all of my personal predictions for tomorrow and of course the earlier part of next week. If it sounds like a plan, if it's something that you might enjoy, please do leave a like and subscribe to show your support. It would be appreciated. And of course I am not a financial advisor, so please do remember that, and of course make sure to do your own research and don't follow me blindly. But with that being said, let's jump straight in. So guys, looking at Bngo over the past day, we can see it has been pretty flat, to be honest. I mean, yes, in the early part of the morning we can see we dropped by about 3%, which isn't good at all, but of course you know what, since then we have actually been up by a small percentage on the stock's price, bringing us back up about 1.72%. So of course, looking at this stock for the long term, if you are willing to invest in it for that period, honestly I would see this as a decent opportunity to buy the dip. I personally don't believe it will go down by too much more, and of course it does make sense that it has sold off, because if we do look at this one over the past week, we can see we are actually up by a significant amount. And of course, looking at this one over the past month, it really does start to make sense, as we have seen the share price increase by an even more significant amount, and with the shares actually being increased in value by over 125%, which is extremely significant. So of course it does make sense that we are seeing a little bit of a sell-off, and of course in relation to the increases that we have been seeing, it is not too bad at all. Now of course, in my personal opinion guys, I think that Bngo is a very decent company. Obviously what they do is actually to advance the whole human race. I think this really will pay off for them in the long term. Some people down in the comments have said that they can see this one going to $100, $200. In my personal opinion, I'm going to give a bit more of a conservative estimate, and my personal view on this one for the next 12 months is that it could touch between $20 and $40. I think that would be reasonably expected. So of course, at the minimum, I definitely think this one is going to double in value, because of course the company is very unique. I mean, yes, there are others in this field, but of course Bngo is one of the biggest in this field, and of course also one of the most advanced. Now of course, like I said, there are others, so please don't get me wrong, but you know what, this one does still have some big potential for growth. So of course it will definitely potentially see the opportunity of being the leading company in this field as well, which will help them into the future. And of course, once their products become a bit more developed, we'll be seeing more good stuff. So guys, going into tomorrow, I think we definitely could see this one increase due to the fact that yes, we are down, but obviously it's starting to flatten out now, and we're almost at a similar point to where we were on about the 1st of February. So of course, if we look from midday on that day, we have only increased by about 6% in share price. Now that is significant, but it's not the biggest, and we would expect it to go up by a bit more. So for that reason guys, I think tomorrow we'll see a bit of an increase. I don't think it will be too significant in my personal opinion. I think it will be relatively small, but I personally do believe it will be an increase nonetheless. Now of course, it could also do the opposite and sell off a little bit. In my personal view, I wouldn't be too worried unless it was to go past this point of $10. If it was to dip past there, then I would be slightly concerned, but honestly I don't think it would do that even if it was to be in the red. So personally, I do believe that now is not a bad entry point with Bngo. Obviously we have seen a sell-off quite recently, but that's not a bad thing when we do consider how high we are up. I think into next week we could see the growth hopefully come back on, as this stock will hopefully resume growth and also increase in share price, and that is really what we would love to see. But honestly guys, if you are holding Bngo, in my personal view, and like I've said, I am not a financial advisor, but if I was to be holding this one, it would be over a long-term period of time. Yes, it does have some potential to rocket in a short-term period, as we are up by over 100% in the past month, but obviously the long-term potential from a fundamental standpoint really is there with this company, and it could see the share price double again, if not more, in the very near future. Of course, that being the next 12 months or so, and for that reason I think it's definitely a buy and hold for the next year, if not for longer than that. I think, you know what guys, right now isn't the worst entry point that you could get in my personal view, and I think we will start to level out soon and hopefully go back in value. So guys, next week is probably going to be positive for Bngo. I think tomorrow will also bring a relatively flat day, which will hopefully be an indication of this one starting to level out. If it was to be increasing by a small amount, it would be the first positive day that we've seen in quite a while in the last 2 to 3 days. So of course that will be kind of an indication of more good things to come as well. And of course, if we can break past these previous highs of $12 in the next day, I'm not saying it is doable, but you know, if it does happen, I think it will be a very, very, very strong buy indication, as we could see this one rocket more more into the next week, and that would be a great thing to see. But yeah guys, Bngo is having a bit of a sell-off right now. Not the worst thing in the world when we consider how high we are up. I think it definitely will be ending pretty soon in my personal view as well. But yeah, it is definitely a solid long-term buy. I think the potential really is there with Bngo. So that's my personal opinion guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye until then.